dat jullie hier zijn. Wat vind je van mama en papa's werk? Nee, hè? Spannend. Vind je het leuk dat ze zulke feestjes gaan organiseren? Jawel, ik zag je rondrennen eerder. Heel goed gedaan. Maartje, let me come around like this in between you guys so we can see you clearly. We saw the end copy there, 4 generations later. What does it mean to you to be standing here with your kids, with the kids of team members?
I think it's so special, and we wanted to make it super personal because I think food is also super personal, and I believe like there's hardly anything bigger and greater and more sincere than the love you have for a child, your child, or at least I have for my kids, and it comes very naturally, and I think it's also super unconditional, and we thought if we can make the link to today, that we put some of this super unconditional and pure love also more into our direct environment, into nature, into the things we do. Because I think sometimes as humans, we tend to forget that we are nature too. And I think what's so special is that they are also a really big reminder for us that they are the future, and we are the future, and we really shape it together.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lotte, for you, I know this meant a lot to you, this opening and the video. What does it mean for you as well to be here with your daughter?
Yeah, so for me, what I find so interesting is as a parent, you try to make sure that you raise your kids as good kids. You want to teach them certain values. And then suddenly you become a professional and you still want to be, you want to make the world a better place, but suddenly you forget about wanting to be a good person at the same time. And all these trade-offs start popping up, all these values are being traded off, you have all these interests coming in. So how do we make sure that as a community or working in this plant-based transition, that you keep these good values in the front seat and not in the back seat? And all these 100 people are trying to do that, and I think we are doing that. So that is for me, why I wanted to show these 100 people that are working at it, with even these 1,000 people add to that for these kids.
Thank you. And you used a key word there, I think, community. You guys, quite a few of you are here for the first time, but we, from the outside, have seen this grow. We've seen this get larger. We've seen more talk about it, conversation about Plant Forward across the city. Tom, you're involved in sales with Plant Forward. What is Plant Forward about for you?
Well, being involved with sales and most of the partnerships here, I guess that is networking. Like, we search high and low to gather the brightest minds and look around. That are you guys. So, really happy that there's a lot of new people joining us, and please make use of it. Engage with each other, find each other through the app, and really help each other to create a plan for the future together. So, really happy that you guys all took the time to be here with us today, and also tomorrow.
Thanks very much, Tom. Tim, you are a relatively new partner with Plant Forward.
Correct.
Why did you decide to get involved?
I decided to get involved because I know Maarten for a long time, and I'm involved in events, and with events we create impact and awareness, and that was my biggest meaning to join Plant Forward, to make more impact and more awareness, also not only for this week and not for this event, but also for other events we do, also at home. I'm not a vegan, I was eating meat all the time, but since I'm joined Plant Forward, at my home we eat way less meat, way more plant-based. So for me it's to create impact and awareness, not only here, but throughout the world and throughout the events we do with our company, to also get all the people involved, eating less meat and more plant-based protein.
Okay, thanks very much. Dan, you've been with the team for a while. You don't have your kids here?
Yeah, it's a struggle sometimes. Yeah, it's a lot of talk about kids, especially last year.
But what is your drive to be part of this, the transition that everyone is here to talk about?
Yeah, so I really want to work on, in my eyes, one of the most profound, inspiring, tasty, and all-round good solutions to one of the biggest challenges that we have as a human species. So I believe the solutions are here, and I think that we can all work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be sharing lots of those exciting innovations and solutions throughout the day. Lisa, head of content here at Plant Forward, talk us through a little bit about what that's like for you here at Plant Forward.
Well, I've been working for quite a while on my own,
Yeah.
Elizabeth vegan, and I really love that. But sometimes, and especially in these times, it's quite lonely and challenging in terms of motivation.
Why, especially in these times?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that later, I think, in the program. But yeah, I sometimes I lay awake and thinking, what can I do? And yesterday I read this quote that said, "Once you care, you're fucked." So I feel like we cannot stop fighting, and I think that if our kids, this generation, when they look back, I want them to know that we did everything we could to fight for a better future. So
Yeah.
that's me. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for fighting for that better future, and for all of you for putting this together the last 3 years. It's no small thing. And thank you very much, all of you, for coming. It sounds like it's the end of the day. It's not. we're just starting off. But please give all of the founders and Revka, Gijs, and Toby a big round of applause. Okay, Lotte.
Yeah.
What's next up?
Good, yeah. So let's get this party started. These were not the keynotes. Good for you. Yeah, so let's get this party started. We have our first keynote speaker here in the back. And the question I think that I kind of want to relate to my introduction as well is, how do we fight these inner combats that we sometimes have while, working at this transition? And what does this big change really ask from you as a person? So, to dive a little bit more deeper into that, we have someone who is really good at systemic change, and he comes from a different sector. He's an activist when it comes to circular economy, and he trains leaders all over the world. So we think he is so suited to give you his first words as a keynote at this conference. Please, ladies and gentlemen, can I get a warm round of applause for Harald Friedel?
Getting ready here. My friend yesterday on a call to him said, "Where is it going?" I have not been here at plant-based the last years, but I know many of you have been here repeatedly. They said, "You're going to the Oscars." And when you have all these prominent people here, now the first speaker, it's quite intimidating, and I'm going to enjoy that together with you, this little intimacy and exploring. And thank you for the nice words, Lotte and team, for putting so much heart and so much love into this event. I've been speaking a lot all over the world, but I do feel very nervous because I try to take you on a little journey where it gets a little bit uncomfortable. So, are you okay? And I would like to show of hands of everybody who is okay to be a bit uncomfortable this morning. And I'm going to ask you then during the speech 3 different things, and still please keep your hands up. Are you okay to meditate together? Okay, are you okay to dance together? Yes. Oh, my friend, I saw you before. Are you okay to afterwards commit to one change you will do in the next 100 days? Amazing! Give yourself a round of applause to do that. Because change, we heard it before in the amazing video. Everybody talks about change. But we also know change is not happening fast enough. Who agrees with that? Who doesn't agree with that? So now I'm on this journey since the last 20 years. Why is it not happening enough? And this journey took me to New York, where I was advising the Secretary General of the United Nations about civil society relations. I was and still am advising the climate change negotiations. How can we decarbonize? How can we become more circular? How can we create an economy for the future? The last 10 years I've been very intensively working on circular economy. I was also a TV presenter and I was advisor to, I'm Austrian, the Deputy Prime Minister of Austria, because I was always looking for this place where I can bring the most change. And then this journey brought me to Myanmar. Big shout out to all my friends there at the moment. They are going through a very difficult time, not only because of the earthquake, but because it's the country with the longest civil war in history of this planet. So I was the CEO of a renewable energy company there. This was between 2012 and 2017 when the country just opened up after a long dictatorship. And I also built, because I'm a peace negotiator, I built a peace center between the army and the rivaling forces. And there are about 40, 50 of those. And I studied Buddhism. So one day I was walking with my meditation teacher, you know, you're walking really at this golden pagodas, which is amazing. And then he asked me the question that changed my life. He said, "What do you do?" I said, "I do all these kind of things, you know, so important, CEO, this, peace center, negotiating." And then he said, "No, what do you do? What is it, what you have here that you bring outside in the world?" And this brought me to the realization, maybe I have not found my compass yet, or I have lost the compass, because I couldn't exactly find out, tell him, say, where is it where I bring myself into the world, because I was so busy trying to find change outside. And I'm saying this, and it's a very difficult story to tell. You know, it's easy to talk about the circular economy, even about your transition many of you are passionate about, or about the regenerative world. But it's so difficult, to my mind, as somebody who has been working on this for the last 10, 20 years, how do you bring this into your personal life? How do you make these changes where it actually hurts? How do you change your behavior, inspire others, but don't tell them what to do? And I hope this resonates a little bit with you, because I'm struggling with this every single day, in every negotiation room. London, Paris, New York, Bogota, it doesn't matter. When companies need to change, it's people who have to change. When governments need to change, their people have to do something. It's always about this unlocking the compass. And I think many are not aware where the compass is, or have lost it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the trouble of planetary boundaries. I'm not going to go into this today, but that we are overshooting 6 of the planetary boundaries. That we are told that buying more is better. Or that we actually believe that pig, my favorite picture, and lots of things were changing it because it was not a good pixel for this big stage. The problem of instant gratification. We want immediately a reward. But do we really want that? Does it actually help us? Does it contribute to our happiness? Does it? I'm not sure. And so I want to leave the problems, you know, the challenges that many people focus on 90% of the time. I want to focus 5% of the time on that, and then now switch the script and say, so many amazing things are happening. You know, the American government just tells the Europeans, we want all resources. We make a deal with the Ukraine. Materiality and how we take care of our resources becomes part of our daily life. I'm not judging anybody politically. But we can't go on like this. We can't keep on supply chains that start in China, go through the Middle East, and then come here. It's not an economically, socially, environmentally, or financially viable model. The competitiveness report by the European Union, just out by Mario Draghi, says exactly that. We need to focus on ourselves again. We need to come up with a European plan, not always look to the Americans. If you have lived there, maybe you doubt like me, is this the model I actually want? And I was just in Germany talking to the German industries and all the chief designers about where do we go. You know, we have a humongous task beforehand in your sector, but in all the others. We need to redesign a whole economy. Everything that we relied on in the past cannot be taken for granted. I personally invite you all to have a look at circular economies. And I want to give you this example, this story, because I was teaching in Mexico about 4 years ago, at the beginning of the year, talking about circularity. And then we were in a very nice setting, I would not say a spiritual setting, but in a leadership retreat. And then I was talking about circular economy and what it means and how do we balance the change between being ourselves, putting it out there, telling people what to do, but still try to live that change. And the person was very convinced. And then I asked him, so what do you do for life? And he said, I'm working for a VC in London and we invest still in oil companies. And I'm not judging, but it is this balance that I'm trying to elaborate on and trying to find with people. Where is it what the inner work you do, the inner change you have, or that we're looking for, the compass, how do you bring it into the world? Because when you're trying to balance this or try to find it out, and that's why I put this string here, it always feels like walking a tight rope. Because it's about change. And where do we find that compass? And this is, I'm writing a second book now, this is my, how do you say that? This is my starting point, where I'm sitting with at the moment. Because the concepts and ideas we all have, we all focus on, this morning, during the next 2 days, they both, on an individual level and a collective level, have a deep influence who we all become. And what reality we are shaping. So it matters, in other words, what you think and do every single day as a person all the time. You're like an antenna. And when all our antennas are focused on making more money, it's just not going to work that we bring the change, the huge changes we need. And I'm not moralistic about this. I am exploring. And for me, the big change was, and I recently launched an email course, and that's the story I'm talking about. I get this call in the monastery when I was living in Myanmar, and the people who are running Circular Economy, which is a think tank in Amsterdam, asked me, can you become CEO of Circular Economy? And then I looked into the concept of circularity and what it means. And for me, it was this huge uplifting, relief. There is something I can do every single day, all the time, that makes total sense. And at its deepest core, it's redesigning economies, it's redesigning our relationship with materials, with what we do, how we consume, and how we relate to each other. And at the end of the day also, how we can share the profits among each other. So from all this work, I want to give you 6 ideas, fundamentals of change, that I thought are really helpful for me. And I want to share them with you also with a mix of personal and professional stories. I love Matrix, obviously. It starts all when I'm in conversations with many people, ministers, party leaders, CEOs. I get the sense many people don't believe fundamental change is possible. I think it is. We've seen it happen. For example, EVs. I want to get rid of cars overall, but let's take EVs as an example how shift can happen faster. The International Energy Agency told us still 7 years ago that cars with a combustion engine will be stopping in 2070. Now, because of the fast dynamism of the change, it's 2030, 2035 that Mercedes, Volkswagen, all of them are talking about a stopping combustion engine. So there's 40 years of change within 5 years. And it starts with accepting your responsibility in this, because nothing is wrong with you. You're doing all amazing things, I'm sure. I just want to give you some ideas on how you might be and live your inner compass even better. Because you are amazing. It doesn't start with you thinking, when people say you have to change. I'm not saying that you have to change. You're amazing, but it's starting to accept your role in the bigger change. Now, first, uncomfortability. I will all ask you to close your eyes, please. And those who don't, that's fine. But I would like to take you on a little journey. And the journey is starting here. Then at the end of the journey, I'll ask you also to open your eyes again. So maybe take a little last deep breath. And then breathe out. Just allow yourself to follow my voice for a minute and a half, and then I bring it back. The Netherlands in 2030, only 5 years from now. 100% circular and regenerative country. It's humming with life and a nation where every resource is valued, reused, and regenerated. The streets of Amsterdam are alive with quiet worlds of electric bicycles and shared solar-powered vehicles. Materials are endlessly recycled into new forms. The water in the canal is clean, thanks to regenerative farming practices upstream. Imagine this: bustling markets, the shelves overflow with plant-based delights. 80% of the nation's protein now comes from plants. Supermarkets proudly display local innovation. Lupin-based cheeses, algae-infused pastas, and tempeh crafted from Dutch-grown soybeans. Food waste is a relic of the past. Surplus vegetables are transformed into soups, sauces, and scraps are composted to enrich urban farms. Families gather around tables to share meals made from seasonal produce. 3 new unicorns are working with alternative proteins, and they have grown out of the Netherlands and are conquering the world. Walk through the neighborhoods. Can you see the community gardens? They're thriving in every corner. Neighbors growing kale, tomatoes, herbs. They are reconnecting with the land and through that with each other. In schools, children cook for themselves. Can you feel the joy, the vision of the future? People thriving, planet thriving. This can be the Netherlands in 2030. And the only question is, what is your part in that? Give a short breath. Thank you for your trust, your first trust. That's the second one. If you want to open your eyes, I have prepared yesterday night postcards. And I only got a 450 because I didn't know there are so many people, I apologize. But the first 450 people can here pick up in the break a postcard, and I promise it, I will send it to you in 100 days from now. Maybe you can put here what you promise to change based on the vision you have for yourself in this future 2030. It's only 5 years. Let's look at the time a little bit. 5 minutes left. Are you enjoying? Yeah? Not falling asleep? Good. I give you a, you know when you have been in many rooms where people talk about the change? This is super easy. Governments pointing to businesses, business pointing to people, people pointing to government. Everybody always points. I'm a big fan of this. Sounds again super easy, but I want to give you an example that's very personal, slightly uncomfortable for me to join, to share. It's about my father. Bless him, he's still alive. He lost his ear, unfortunately, a week ago, so he's not doing so well. The last 20 years I was in politics. I was working for a central government. I was the spokesperson of the government and the advisor, deputy prime minister. My father in Austria, he is part of a right-wing party. So you can imagine in our family, the dinners were not so much fun because I had a lot of judgments about people in this party. Now we all know, all over the world at the moment, especially in Europe, many people tend to vote on the right and on the left. But many people don't like this kind of development. And I'm saying this because I realized 10 years into my relationship with my father, in the last 10 years, I had decided not to meet him anymore as equal. I had put myself above him in my judgment that what he is doing is wrong. Now I'm saying this in a touchy subject because I don't think this makes a difference to actually get change done. I think the people who vote on the extremes we all, or I call out to all of you to actually sit down together with them, rather than shunning them out, pushing them away, saying you are the problem. I think we need to find, again, the courage to look here and say, I bring this back to me, I look at my assumptions and judgments, and I want to be a leader, what I think is one of the biggest transformations, to become from an ecocentric leader into from an egocentric leader into an ecocentric leader. Going from focus on myself to focus on the ecosystem. We are doing this, by the way. I'm the host or the co-host of the Amsterdam Circular Economy Startup Program. And we don't invite any more individual startups because we have seen it's not enough if one startup brings an MVP, a minimum viable product. It's much more important if you ask them to come with the MVE. Anybody knows what the MVE is? Yes? Can you shout it out? Again? A minimum viable ecosystem. Come with all your partners. We had a woman who was a caterer. She doesn't come alone. She comes with the person producing her packaging, the farmer making her food, the people who are doing the mobility, and ideally the clients, and the people who finance it. Again, all about collaboration. And at the end of the day, at the beginning, when you bring the ecosystem together, you better have a discussion also how we distribute the finances, the profits in this chain. What is the most interesting topics I'm working on? Now, the fundamental number 5 is your value and belief system. And if you don't believe me, I always like to give that example. A woman, an Australian nurse who has been working with hundreds of people who were dying. These, on the right-hand side, you see the things they have been regretting. It's not having not enough money, having not enough, worked enough. It is, I wish I would have lived that life that I and my compass tell me, and not the ones that others focus on myself, or the others want me to live. So if you believe that giving, that contributing, that playing a part in the whole might be a way to more connection and happiness, and maybe you can again look for your inner compass to see how to make it happen. Now, please all get up. Please all get up. Now we're going to do the third time, uncomfortability. Can you put the music down a bit because it's a bit loud? I ask you to do the following thing, yeah? All of these words don't matter, you know? I'm only here that we are doing something together. Maybe it was a nice speech, maybe it was not. But when you are tomorrow, you're picking up this thing and say, I'm going to do this, then I'm excited. So, we are not doing the haka. Everybody knows the haka? Because people say this is cultural appropriation, which I'm not doing. So I did my own dance. It looks a bit similar, but it sounds different. Yeah? So, we have 3 words. Yes, we can. Okay? You can, we can change faster together. And the movement is this. Yes, we can. Is this okay? So, okay, I ask you to do this 6 times together. It's also very uncomfortable for me, believe me. We do the music, we do it 6 times together, and we enjoy it because I want to show you what is possible if we do it together. You'll all love it afterwards. Okay? Everybody with me? Okay, go. 3, 2, 1. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. 3 more times. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Last time. Yes, we can. Sit down again. Thank you so much today for giving a little bit of chance to me to explaining what I'm struggling with. Maybe it resonates with some of you that finding this inner compass is a challenging thing to do. And I tried to give you 6 things that might bring you a little bit closer. And I'm so hopeful about change because all these things are happening. Google is running the biggest accelerator ever on circular economy. A new generation is consuming completely different, and it's the biggest transfer of wealth from one generation to the next. Look out for this. CEOs say circular economy, rich generation, biggest business opportunity in our lives. And AI, I think I don't need to bring into the room because it might happen at a later stage. I thank you so much. I hope you pick up one of these letters. I promise to send them to you in 100 days from now, so you can see what you've promised yourself today, to put your own compass in line where you want to go, and take that one action that will make a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Harold. Yeah, very thought-provoking there, and good to see. I think like 95% of you got up and did the whole "yes we can" thing. So
I'm so scared that you
pat on the
wouldn't.
back. Well done.
So I think, yes, on to our next speaker. And now that I think, or I hope we've warmed up your hearts a little bit, it's time to look at this transition a little bit more broadly. And maybe we should also look a little bit into the dark sides of what this transition sometimes is. But maybe there is a little light. So on to our next speaker again.
Yeah, she is a professor at Delft. She's done a lot of research into the plant-food transition, and she's a really lovely person because she has a very kind of refreshing, I think, take on how to make all of us feel the scientific impact of the protein transition as well. So please give her a massive round of applause. It is Anna Louisa Peters.